Coming to politics, we had the BJP National Executive in Delhi over the weekend, and it seemed a sort of virtual endorsement of Narendra Modi for for the prime ministerial candidate, looking at 2014, the election year. How do you look at? I know we've gone through this over and over again, but is there a Modi wave anywhere where he did have this? Meet the students at the Sri Ram College of Commerce, and everybody sort of lapped it up. If you can, if you go by the reactions. So, is there a Modi wave? How do you look at 2014? And
there's clearly some sort of Modi wave.
Yeah.
And the in many ways it's a wave that's emerged because of the contrast that is there. For much of its existence, the United Progressive Alliance hasn't performed.
Yeah.
For much of the time that he's been Prime Minister, Manmohan Singh has been this passive sort of figure who's not really been associated with the kind of definite, authoritative, clear steps that a leader should take. From the outside, it looks like he's dithering a bit at times, right? He doesn't know exactly
colorless,
what needs to be done. Yeah. No, colorless is another thing. And of course, he doesn't have a forceful personality.
Yeah.
Either in terms of how he speaks, he's not very great at public speaking. And you have to contrast that with Modi, who's, and here I'll have to digress a bit, and I have to say something because in some ways he's a polarizing figure. There are people who think he can do no wrong, and these people think he can walk on water, and there are people who think he can do no right, and these people think he's responsible for all the ills. But there are facts, and the facts are Gujarat was a developed state and was doing well before Narendra Modi. But the fact is it has continued to do well even after he's taken over. If you look at the state of infrastructure in that state, it's pretty good. It's one of the few power surplus states in the country. Power breakdowns are few and far between. It rarely happens. The roads are excellent. Law and order situation is pretty good, although there are conflicting reports about this. That's at one end. The other end is the fact that it was a communal state even before Mr. Modi took over. It's not as if
he came and the whole thing started.
Yeah, but no, it was a communal state even before he took over. So it's not as if Narendra Modi was responsible for communalizing the state. It's a state where the Hindus have traditionally not liked the Muslims. And that's the way it's always been. It's always. That's again, there are legacy reasons for that, there are historical reasons for that, but it's a state where, to be sure, in many parts of the state they've continued to live together, but there is this polarization between the communities that predates Narendra Modi. It's not as if he did it. And of course, the third fact is the 2002 riots happened under his watch, right? So now. The people who are against Mr. Modi would like to view it as an issue of culpability. The people who are pro Narendra Modi don't want to see it that way. But I think the only way in which you can see it is that, to me, it's an issue of responsibility. It happened under his watch.
Yeah.
So these are the facts. And so if you look at what the majority of this country sees, what most people in this country see, they see an ineffectual government at the center which hasn't been able to deliver. And in contrast, they see someone who's actually gone out and done things. There are broader issues, right? And these are more nuanced issues, which is, will this style that Narendra Modi followed in Gujarat, especially while dealing with dissent, even from within his own party, will that work in a larger coalition? But I think those are questions which are, let's say, these are higher order questions. I think you have to look at the kind of appeal he has, the kind of character he has, the kind of image he's portrayed. He's portrayed a very effective image of someone who can go out and get things done. And in many ways, if you look at it from the business point of view, Gujarat has gone out and gotten things done. And businessmen from Ratan Tata to Mukesh Ambani to whoever you can name, a lot of auto companies that have set up shop in Gujarat, including Maruti and General Motors, swear by what he's done. So, whereas the United Progressive Alliance has, in many ways, made India a difficult country to do business in. For a significant portion of the United Progressive Alliance's stint in power, you had a finance minister who took you back to the 1970s and who was completely anti-business. And now, of course, we have a far more effective finance minister who's more pro-business and pro-markets. So you look at that, you have to admit the fact that there is some sort of wave that's happening in business communities, even among common voters. But I think in some ways the happenings of the BJP's executive committee, which happened last weekend in Delhi, is just an endorsement of that. Because if you look at BJP, who else is there? It's a party of many leaders, and I'm sure it's a party where many people would like to be the prime ministerial candidates. But at the end of the day, you have to be pragmatic about it. You will have to endorse someone who has a chance. You will have to endorse someone who doesn't just have the skills, but also has a chance of winning and leading the party, and more importantly, the coalition to victory.
Keeping the coalition together.
Yeah, I don't know whether keeping the coalition together, building the coalition, because one of the constituents of the NDA, Nitish Kumar, we don't know how we'll react if the BJP says that Narendra Modi is the party's prime ministerial candidate, and they haven't still gone out and done so. But like you said, it's fairly clear who it's likely to be.
You look at the Congress, and this week we had a story about how Rahul Gandhi has again reiterated he doesn't want to become the prime minister. A couple of surprising reported statements attributed to him. One, that he doesn't want to get married. He wants to build the party. The reason why he doesn't want to get married is because he doesn't want to propagate a dynasty again. How do you look at this? Because, he's going to be pitted against, nilly-willy, he's going to be pitted against Modi. Modi is also, he's not married, he doesn't have a family, not that we know of anyway, or he doesn't like to talk about it. So how do you look at these two figures? Both of them seem to be similar in the sense that they want to sort of serve the party, serve the country, but starkly different personalities.
Yeah, very different personalities. So I don't know what Rahul Gandhi wants to do, right? I really don't, because from the outside, because he's not someone who interacts a lot with the media or the press. I've never met him. Some of our people have met him, but again, they've met him in very controlled environments, where you go, there are certain things you can do, certain things you can't do, certain things you can write, certain things you can't write. So I've never had a casual conversation with him, say. So I have no idea how he is. People who've interacted with him, ministers and a few others, have told me that he's very good in small groups. But unfortunately in India you have to be very good in large groups if you have to. I don't think his speeches are great. So he's clearly not a skillful orator. And in India, a lot of politics has to do with your ability to spout rhetoric. Right? And I must admit that Modi is far more effective at that than Rahul Gandhi is in terms of oratory and speech making. And as far as not getting married, not wanting to propagate a dynasty and all that, again, I'm not so sure, because this whole renunciation thing is very strange, because he is where he is because of his surname. And there's no denying it. You have to accept it. But at the same time, I don't think, in all honesty, we should be judging him by his surname. Right? We should be judging him on the basis of what he can do and what he can't do, and what he wants to do and what he doesn't want to do. And from that perspective, he's still, after all these years, he's been a member of parliament for what, almost a decade now?
Yeah, almost.
He's still an unproven commodity, right? He's not someone...
Very few speeches in parliament.
No,
right?
That, and also he's not someone who's... It's not as if he's led the party to a great victory in a state election or something. And so he's still in many ways...
untested.
An enigma to most people outside. You don't know what he feels, you don't know what he thinks. When was the last time you read an in-depth interview with him where he answered tough questions?
You can't think of any.
I would have to say never.
Yeah.
Right? There was, of course, this one famous interview which we all know of, which was later retracted, where he said he could be prime minister anytime he wanted to be.
Yeah.
But so I don't know. So it remains an enigma. And with statements like these, again, I don't know, because if you are serious about what you want to do, then you have to say it. Now, the problem for the Congress is really this. If this man goes out saying the kind of things that he's been saying, then who is their candidate? Who is going to take on, presumably, Narendra Modi, but who is their candidate? And then that's a tough question to answer, right? Because the Congress is a party where if it's not a Gandhi, then there are likely to be lots of contenders. I'm sure there are several people who nurture these ambitions and aspirations. So it's a tough question. So, and I don't think it's a great thing to say before the elections, right? Because if, as some people believe, the Gandhi surname still has a draw and still gets votes and attracts voters from a certain segment of the population, then the fact that he has announced clearly that he doesn't want to be Prime Minister will actually be a deterrent and a negative factor for those voters, right? They're not going to be so keen on voting for the Congress because at the end of the day, who do you vote for? And in many ways, some people, I think people like us, might go out and give votes on the basis of issues, but lots of other people also vote on the basis of persona, on the basis of an individual's charisma, the leader's charisma. So I think it's not a particularly smart thing to say at this point in time, but he said it, so it's out there in the open.
So more questions than answers, actually.
That's right, and very interesting, because one would have thought in the run-up to all this that he was finally ready to sort of take the plunge. So it's clear that he's not.
Thank you, Sukumar.
Thank you.
That's all we have for you this week. Thanks for watching, and please stay tuned for more.